welcome. We have the Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby League here with their legendary rollers. They are in red. And we also have our visiting team, the Greater Edmonton Roller Derby All-Stars. We've just gotten this game underway, and on our first line for Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, we have Wolf Blade Junior jamming, as well as Ferris Bruiser as your pivot. We also have Pay the Pain, B-Rex, and Acid Reflux as your blockers.
And for the All-Stars today, we have some Monster jamming, along with Sham Wow, Lunatic, Emsky, and Thunder Pain as your blockers.
Coming up on this next jam, we have Huntsman jamming for the All-Stars, and we also have Leothal jamming for Southern Alberta Legendary Rollers. We've got a cut track penalty being assessed on one of the All-Stars blockers who's going to go take a seat in that box.
Legendary Rollers jammer has been able to grab that lead jammer designation.
Leothal calls the jam after picking up 4 big points there for the Legendary Rollers. That puts the score at 6 for the Legendary to 1 for Greater Edmonton All-Stars.
Legendary.
We get it, Barney. Thanks. And I am lactose intolerant, so just so you know, legend, wait for it. If you're not lactose intolerant, dairy. I get it.
Fantastic.
References, I get them.
All right, now jamming for the red Legendary Rollers, that's 911 Wolf Blade Jr. And for the All-Stars in black, their jammer is number 6 Wreck-It Rory.
We did not introduce ourselves, so I'm Rocky Score, and we also have
Fat Boy.
He had to say it like that, Fat Boy.
Put the emphasis on it.
Yeah, his enunciation and emphasis is pretty on point, so looking forward to this game.
You betcha. So lining up now in red, number 7, that's going to be Tricky Little, going up against black, number 28, Some Monster.
Is it Some Monster, Sam Monster? Sam Monster.
Is it Sam Monster? I could be saying it wrong. Sam Monster.
I'll bet you her name is Sam.
I probably is.
Yeah. We have Tricky Little with the lead jam here. Tricky Little knocked out, recycles behind that pack, and the jam is called. Tricky Little picking up 2 big points there for Legendary. That takes them to 12. Greater Edmonton All-Stars sitting at 1. 26 minutes, 45 seconds to go in this first half. Wolfblade Jr. up on the line for Legendary, going up against Huntsman for the All-Stars. And it is Wolfblade Jr. who is out first as your lead jammer. Huntsman now has cleared the pack. Karma attempted to lay a hit there on Wolfblade Jr., but was unable to. He picks up his points, 4 big ones there, and calls that jam. That's 4 more points for Legendary at 16.
Wreck-It Rory trying to get out first, but a little bit caught up, so that's going to allow the Legendary Rollers to grab that lead jam, and that is number 14, Lethal.
Wreck-It Rory jamming for the All-Stars. Coming around, going to look to put some points on the board for the All-Stars. Number 88, Sedusa, the pivot for the All-Stars, is going to go take a seat in that penalty box.
They're going to get joined by Gerzilla as well, being issued that penalty. That track's starting to look a little empty here as lots of them serving time in the penalty box. However, at least two, one from each team now, has been released.
We've got a low block being issued to the Legendary's pivot. We'll go take a seat in that penalty box. It's number 117, Smashing Rex.
And Lethal was able to grab a couple more points on that one and then called it off. So that's going to bring Legendary up 12 points to 28 total. Greater Edmonton scores 8 on that one, so they're now at 9 with just a little better than 24 minutes remaining and 6 jams completed. Wolfblade Jr. lined up now, going up against Sam Monster.
All-Stars pivot back on the track now, looking to provide some offense as both jammers clear the pack at the same time. But it is Sam Monster, who is your lead jammer.
That one's going to get called off before anybody's able to grab any points, so that's going to remain same score. So now we've got Huntsman going up against Tricky Little.
We are 7 jams in, about to enter our 8th, and I am incredibly impressed with these juniors and honestly frightened about what happens when they become adults.
When they start playing in your caliber leagues?
When they
your
start
age
hitting
limit?
me. I'm scared for when they start hitting me.
Little Tricky's going to try and find some space to the inside, but gets bumped out. And while that's happening, Sam Monster's able to get through and grab lead jammer.
Huntsman, as your lead jammer, is coming around behind the pack in turn 1. Little bit of a spin move there as he attempts to evade some of those red blockers. He's able to do so in turn 2. Picks up 4 big points there for the All-Stars. A much needed 4 points to close that gap between Legendary. Tricky Little knocked to the inside just before turn 3, but is able to find some room and clears the pack.
Huntsman receives a big hit to the outside of that track in the middle of that third corner. Huntsman called to whistle that one down.
Eight points there on the board for the All-Stars in that jam. That takes them to 17 points and 5 on the board for Legendary. They're sitting at 33 with 22 minutes left in this half. And we have Wolfblade Jr. jamming for the Legendary red team, as well as Wreck-It Rory jamming for the All-Stars in black.
Didn't take very long until the Legendary Rollers are able to grab lead jam on that one, but the All-Stars aren't going to leave them get far behind.
Wolfblade through at the turn 2, picking up 4 big points there for the All-Star, for Legendary, excuse me.
A very quick hit it and quit it kind of strategy there as he grabbed those 4 points as fast as they could and then just called it off.
We have Leothal on the jam line for Legendary, as well as Sam Monster jamming for the All-Stars.
Leothal's going to get past Sedusa and grab that lead jammer, but Sam Monster's not going to stay very far behind as they're going to chase that red jammer down. Leothal's going to call that one dead before they get back into the pack there, so that'll leave that jam scoreless. As we're coming up to 20 minutes and 30 seconds left after 10 jams in this first half. Legendary standing 37, Greater Edmonton at 17.
Wolfblade Jr. now on that jam line for Legendary Rollers and Huntsman for the All-Stars. Huntsman looking for some room on that outside line, but he is knocked out and will have to reset behind that pack. But it is Wolf Blade Jr. who is out and your lead jammer.
We do have a cut track penalty issued to Karma, who's going to have to sit 30 seconds now in that penalty box. And it looks like they're going to get joined by their pivot as well. I've missed what the call is, but that is number 89, Emsky, who's going to join that 30-second timeout there.
4 points there for Wolfblade Jr. That takes Legendary to 41. Greater Edmonton All-Stars still at 17 with 19 minutes 40 seconds left in this half. Wreck-It Rory jamming for Greater Edmonton All-Stars, going up against Tricky Little for a Legendary Rollers.
Tricky Little trying to find an inside seam, got a big hip check there, knocked out of bounds. Pay the Pain, number 4, has been issued a penalty from the Legendary Rollers, so they're going to lose one of their blockers now as well.
Wreck-It Rory at the pack in the apex there. Gets through and scores 4 big points there for Greater Edmonton All-Stars. Tricky Little also picking up 4 points on that last pass.
All-Stars have been issued another penalty. Now Karma is headed back towards the penalty box.
8 points there in that last jam for Greater Edmonton All-Stars. They are sitting at 25 points. Legendary picked up 7 in the jam. That takes them to 48. Wolfblade Jr. now up jamming for Legendary Rollers, going up against Sam Monster for the All-Stars. Quick reminder for those watching that Legendary is in red and the Greater Edmonton All-Stars are in black.
And Sam Monster is going to get through first for that lead jam, but Wolfblade Jr. is going to pour on some fuel as he bounces right into some Monster into that fourth corner.
Quick call-offs here on both sides as the lead jammer decides that they don't want to risk it with the other team scoring any points with a score this close. Leothal jamming for the Legendary Rollers, going up against Huntsman for the All-Stars.
All-Stars are going to short start this one as they are still short one to the penalty box, but it looks like the Legendary Rollers are going to lose one of their own. Misfit is going to go sit down in the penalty box.
Leothal coming behind the pack just before turn 3. One blocker to beat, and unfortunately it puts a toe out and will reset. The pivot, though, for the All-Stars will be headed to the penalty box.
Yeah, that was a low block picked up there for the All-Stars pivot. Both jammers able to make that last pass count as they grab 4 points each.
We have a forearm penalty being called on the jammer, I believe, for the Legendary Rollers. Yep, the jammer, Leothal, will be headed to that penalty box. That means that the Greater Edmonton Roller Derby All-Stars will be starting with a power start, and it is Wreck-It Rory, your jammer for the All-Stars.
Legendary at 54, Greater Edmonton 31 with 16 minutes remaining. 14 jams up till this point. And we saw the All-Stars use that backwards strategy, trying to get that no pack call, and it was effective as they were able to draw that penalty onto the red pivot, number 167, Ferris Bruiser.
Wreck-It Rory has 3 to beat in turn 1 and is able to do so, becomes your lead jammer. But we're going to get another penalty on an All-Stars player as Leothal returns to the track. There was a flying attempt at a hit there, but it was a penalty. So another blocker will head to the box.
Looks like a couple penalties too, as one of the Legendary Rollers was sent off the track as well to that penalty box. So both teams are going to start a little short here. Looks like Legendary Rollers are going to be down 1, whereas the All-Stars are going to start this one short 2 blockers.
Wolfblade Jr. on the jam line for Legendary Rollers, going up against Sam Monster for the All-Stars.
So Greater Edmonton able to grab 9 points on that last jam. That's going to bring their score up to 40 now. They're only 14 behind. Legendary standing at 54.
Wolfblade Jr. out first is your lead jammer for the Legendary Rollers. And makes quick work of that pack in turn 2, picks up 4 points there. We have a multiplayer penalty and another penalty, so 1 apiece for blocker and pivot.
And another penalty now being issued towards the All-Stars. They're going to lose number 8. That is Knuckleberry.
Wolfblade with 2 blockers to beat in turn 4, but Sam Monster passes him. Both of them picking up 4 points in their last passes.
So you've got Lunatic and Emsky now blocking for the All-Stars, trying to stop Wolfblade Jr. as he's still able to roll past him and grab those points. But now we do have a back block call being assessed to number 89 Emsky, headed right back to that penalty box.
More points on the board for both teams here as the pack is in the apex between turns 1 and 2. Wolfblade jumps to the apex and picks up 5 points on that last pass. So a high-scoring jam for both teams. We've got 20 points for the Legendary Rollers. That puts them at 74.
It looks like there was a call last minute at the end of that jam for a penalty. It looks like Sham Wow is going to go sit down in the penalty box for a little while.
15 points from the All-Stars. That takes them to 55, 12 minutes, just under 13 minutes left in this half. We have Sedusa on the line. And a timeout.
Now it looks like it's going to be the Legendary Rollers calling that timeout. Of course, if you're here and you're getting a little bit thirsty, check out the Peterson Contracting for... Let me try that again. If you're here and you're getting thirsty, check out the Peterson Contracting Beer Garden. Opened up at 12 noon today, so they are prime charged and ready to roll. And of course, Peterson Contracting is a multi-trade company. Check them out for all your electrical, plumbing, gas, and HVAC needs. They have a Facebook, facebook.com/Peterson Contracting.
Peterson with an E.
With an E.
With an E.
E-N.
Don't check out the beer gardens if you're currently announcing and or officiating and or NSOing, but maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later's good. That's a good plan. I have a hard enough time talking sometimes when I haven't had anything to drink.
Agreed. I have the same problem. In fact, I might be better after 1 or 2.
Potentially. And the whistles blow, and our officials have said, let's get back to the action.
We have Tricky Little on the jam line for Legendary Rollers, as well as Sedusa jamming for the All-Stars. But it is Tricky Little out first, is your lead jammer.
Pack's looking a little short here, but we seem to have a whole lot of bodies leaving that penalty box at the same time, so it's starting to fill up as there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bodies falling all over the place. And we're going to have, by the looks of it, another penalty issued now to one of the All-Stars. I think that is 89 Emsky.
Tricky Little knocked down to the inside there by Huntsman and forced to reset behind them.
No pack is called, and the All-Stars are quick to hear that and release that jammer.
We've got a clockwise block on the All-Stars pivot. Sham Wow, who will go take a seat in that penalty box. Score 91 for Legendary Rollers, picking up 11 big points in that last jam. Greater Edmonton All-Stars not too far behind, 67 with 12 points in that last jam. 11 minutes, 20 seconds left in this half. Wolfblade Jr. is your lead jammer for Legendary Rollers.
Wreck-It Worry trying to get through that pack as they start into that second turn, and she is able to get through. Wolfblade Jr. is going to go one-on-one with number 114, Thunder Pain. Still able to get through. Counts 4 points when that one's called off. So the Legendary are going to go up to 95 now. Greater Edmonton at 67 with 10.5 minutes remaining. 18 jams in the first half. I'm starting to think we're going to see a lot of jams in this half. We're at 18 already with 10 minutes left.
Leothal on the jam line for the Legendary Rollers. She's taking on Sam Monster in the black. But Sam Monster will go sit in that penalty box. Did you catch what that penalty was for?
No, I did not see it.
That means it is a power jam for Leothal with a little bit of a shoulder shake there in turn 2. Ooh, it is knocked to the ground. But the blocker who did knock her down will go to sit in that penalty box. That is Thunder Pain.
And it looks like the Legendary Rollers are going to lose one of their blockers as well. That's the pivot, number 117, Smashing Rex, now going to go take a seat. And a cut track penalty.
We've got a cut track penalty on Leothal, who will go take a seat in that penalty box as the other jammer is back on the track. Sam Monster is able to get through and score 5 points there for the All-Stars. Some offense there by the All-Stars, but many bodies crashing to the ground just before turn 1.
And a directional block call now being assessed to one of the All-Stars blockers. They're going to be short another one.
Sam Monster still the only jammer on the track.
And another penalty now being assessed.
It looks like Sam Monster will not be headed to the box. It was a little unclear at the end of that jam, but it means that the All-Stars will start with at least a jammer on the track, although they have a few blockers in that box. Although there is currently a review happening. While we take that time, we will definitely take some time to thank some of our sponsors. I really want to take a second to talk about Girls on Track Foundation. I think it's something that's extremely important. Did you know that by age 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate of boys? Girls on Track wants to change that stat. Learn more about expanding access to roller derby for girls and their teens at girlsontrackfoundation.org. And just looking at some of these juniors, I can see the impact and the benefit that these kinds of programs have.
No, absolutely. You couldn't have hit the nail any better on the head with that one. And we've now transitioned from a team timeout to an official timeout.
If you are here today, make sure you check out some of our amazing vendors. We have Chantel Abor's unique leggings to match your style, or perhaps you need a massage. head on over to the massage tables just over here on my right, held by Mount Royal University, providing massages on site, whether you need a relaxation massage or have a condition that requires therapeutic treatment. Their students are trained to the highest standards nationally and can meet your needs. They do great massages, so if you haven't gotten one yet, please head on over there and check it out.
Of course, if you did get a massage, maybe you're trying to now clear your head a little bit, our essential oils and oil blends from Young Living will take you on a sensory journey that can instantly soothe and enliven both the mind and body.
And, you know, a big thank you to Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, whose juniors are out here on the track right now. They promote safety, cooperation, and wholesome fun and entertainment for the whole family. So thanks for coming here. Thanks. Make sure you check out their booth at the end if you're looking to buy some juniors merchandise. There is a whole table full, as well as any of the other teams here this weekend. So if you're looking to take home a souvenir, make sure you go do it over there. Or you could maybe like take a piece of tape or something else as a souvenir, not off the track. Don't take tape off the track, but you know.
Yeah,
some old tape that came off the track.
There we go. So back to the action on the track now. Number 88, Sadusa, jamming for the All-Stars. But we do have a star pass, and I'm not even sure who had it to start with, but it has been passed to the pivot, and that is going to be Wolfblade Jr. now wearing the star for the Legendary Rollers.
Sadusa is your lead jammer and called off that jam, but Wolfblade was able to pick up 3 points there for Legendary. That puts Legendary at 105 points. Greater Edmonton All-Stars with 82. 7 minutes, 23 seconds left in this half.
Lined up now, Tricky Little going up against Wreck-It Rory.
And we will have an official review called by Legendary Rollers, the red team. While we take this review, of course, you know, a big thank you to Nerd Roller Skates and Rydell Skates, both sponsors of Flat Track Fever 2018. Nerd Roller Skates has a lot for sale over at their booth. I picked up some toe stops and laces yesterday, so I'm looking forward to giving those a shot at the end of the week. Hopefully I don't fall on my face, so that would be a start for me.
It would be a fantastic start, but great. You know, just in case you were worried about it, I think they got some new helmets and stuff over there too. They got all their pads as well. So if you're looking at anything you need, nerdrollerskates.com, as well as they are open 6 days a week in Calgary for people who roll.
Yeah, you can get everything that you need there. Really anything, including, did you know that they have the Rydell Solaris skates?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about them. I certainly have never spoken about them in my life before, but big shout out to Rydell Skates and the all-new Solaris. The acclaimed Rydell Solaris is the performance you demand and the comfort you've been missing, and they have sample sizes over at the Nerd Roller Skates booth, so please go check them out. You will love it.
I think I heard earlier somebody said something about it's like skating with pillows on your feet.
It is. Well, I can't say skating because I don't have any yet, but putting them on my feet was quite nice. It was a nice experience. And I'm sure with, you know, maybe a Powerdyne Arius Platinum plate on those skates, it would be really great. We're going to take a second to find out the results of this official review.
So Legendary coach was not actually looking so much for an official review there on a specific call, but he was looking to get some clarifications on a ruling as far as how and what exactly the back block call is going to be, so they do not retain that official review and they will lose that.
Tricky Little jamming for Legendary Rollers is your lead jammer, but Wreck-It Rory not too far behind, jamming for the All-Stars. tricky little on her pass takes up 4 points there for Legendary.
Now, the Legendary Rollers are going to start short one as B. Rex is now sitting down in that penalty box.
And it is Sam Monster on that jam line for the All-Stars, going up against Wolf Blade Jr. for the Legendary Rollers. I guess I should probably say Legendary Rollers. It is a pun. Legendary Rollers.
Wolfblade Jr. is going to try and find a spot to the inside, but gets bounced around there between Lunatic and Lily Wonka.
Wolfblade giving a little bit of a push there to Sam Monster on his way around. Sam Monster is not having any of that and called off the jam, but is back on that jam line. So no rest for the wicked.
Nope, and Sam Monster is going to go up against Leah Thal now.
Score sitting 109 for Legendary and 82 for the All-Stars. So still a relatively close score with 5 minutes, 36 seconds left in this half, and then there is an entire other half. So lots of time on the scoreboard here. Ooh.
A little bit of calamity there as some bodies fall to the floor.
I think I saw one of the blockers accidentally or get pushed onto sitting on the other skater. So one skater serving as chair.
So it looks like the Legendary Rollers, number 14, Leah Thal, is going to take that lead jammer, while Sam Monster is not going to let her get very far. Leah Thal is going to get in there and call that jam off, able to grab another 3 points to add to their total. So that's going to bring up the Legendary score now to 112. Greater Edmonton sitting at 82. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left after 23 jams.
Sedusa on that jam line for the All-Stars. Sorry, my microphone was closer to my mouth than I thought it was. Wolfblade jamming for Legendary.
And a directional block call now on a All-Stars blocker that is going to leave them short. It looks like that is the pivot now that's been sat over there.
Wolfblade able to clear that pack with ease, picking up 4 points for his team.
Lunatic back on the track now for the All-Stars, as she uses Lily Wonka to push right into Wolfblade Jr., who's able to still just skip on past that inside line.
Wolfblade Jr., another 4 points there for Legendary Rollers. But it looks like we have a blocking with the head penalty being assessed to one of those blockers who are going to the box. There are 2 All-Stars headed to that penalty box.
That multiplayer was assessed to ShamWow, who was just released from the penalty box.
Wolfblade picking up another 5 big points at the end of that jam.
That is going to bring the score now Legendary 100. Oh, that's all the way up to 13 points now. So Legendary up to 125. Greater Edmonton at 86. 3 minutes remaining, 24 jams. That's a lot of jams in a half.
That's a lot. We've seen a lot of jams and a lot of penalties in this half, but the scores are still relatively close. We have a timeout now.
Yeah, that one's going to be charged to Team Zebra as the officials are looking to huddle together. Of course, this is a fantastic time to say thank you to the Boo Boo Brigade. Boo Boo Brigade. They are paramedics, our first responders today on site, and they've got these wonderful red shirts. They've all got sayings on them like, "Now what'd you do?" or "Do you need a Band-Aid?"
I like that. It makes getting hurt a little less scary.
You bet. It's fantastic because they're such wonderful people too, making sure that, you know, all the skaters, even if they do get hurt, hopefully can get off the track as well taken care of as possible.
Yeah, a big shout out to all of our volunteers here as well, all of our NSOs, all of our officials, everybody who's running the scenes, to the track manager, Kat, everybody who's feeding us, 2% who has provided all of the food up in the officials room, and everybody else who's made this event what it is. We are in the last day of Flat Track Fever 2018, another successful event for Chinook City Roller Derby. If you are watching the live stream, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you are enjoying these games and our broadcast as well.
And of course, if you are here in person or you're thinking about being here, if you want to check out the after party, it is going to be at the King Heads Pub. And that's going to be just following the event today. So make sure you come out for some good food, good drinks, and a good time.
King's Head not far, just up the street, so you don't have to travel across town. I do, however, have to travel across town to get home. So, well, more than that. To the mountains. To the mountains.
You go to the mountains and I'll head back to the flatlands of Saskatchewan, so we'll cover a good distance.
Wow, you came here from Saskatchewan? That's pretty impressive. I'm impressed. On your motorcycle?
I did, yes. I rode up
Wow.
from Saskatoon on Friday. I'll be heading home tomorrow.
Good weather for it, hopefully.
It is looking like beautiful travel weather tomorrow. But you know what also happens when it gets nice out like that?
What? You tell me.
I'm going to tell you, some of the roller skaters, they're able to go outside and practice outside. And let's say you need a new set of wheels for going outside. I hear that Nerd Roller Skates has all kinds of different wheels, stuff like that you can pick up. Of course, they're back at our vendor table. Or let's say that you need something different kind of hardness for a tournament you might have coming up in Lethbridge. Rydell Skates has world-class edging with the Radar Haloval, and they are available in a full range of hardness from 84A all the way up to 101A. There is a halo for everyone.
And we are back to the Junior Roller Derby action here with Wreck-It Rory jamming for the All-Stars.
That's Tricky Little who's going to grab that quick lead jam.
Tricky Little out, and is your lead jammer coming around, is knocked to the outside and receives a cut track penalty for coming in front or gaining position on the All-Stars, and will take a seat in that penalty box and think about what she's done.
And
while Wreck-It Rory picks up 5 big points there on that last pass.
As well, we've got the pivot for the Legendary Rollers in the penalty box as well. As Wreck-It Rory is able to go through for another 5 points. Try and use this power jam opportunity to score some and try and catch up.
Wreck-It Rory took a little bit of a tumble there. It looked like she tried to lay a hit on Tricky Little, but was unable to do so. And Tricky Little is clear of that pack, picks up 4 points.
And there is a high block call on Emsky now, going to sit down in the penalty box for 30 seconds as Wreck-It Rory is able to get through and grab another 4 points.
Huntsman going to the box for a multiplayer penalty for the All-Stars. There's only 2 All-Star blockers left on the track.
Wreck-It Rory is going to try and get a little bit of help there from their pivot number 15, Sham Wow.
And we are in the last minute of play in this first half. Score continues to go up.
A very good jam on both sides for each team as the Greater Edmonton All-Stars are going to pull away with 23 points on that jam, bringing their total score now to 109. And the Legendary Rollers able to grab 17 on that one, taking their score now to 142 after the 25th jam in this first half.
Many jams, many jams. Sam Monster on the line for the All-Stars going up against Wolfblade Jr., but it is Sam Monster who is your lead jammer, clears the pack in turn 1. Wolfblade Jr. with some very quick skating, attempting to catch up with Sam Monster in turn 2.
Sam Monster is going to go in there and grab that one quick and get those 4 points and call it off before Wolfblade Jr. is able to get in there. So that's going to grab 4 more points for the All-Stars, as that brings their score now to 113, with the Legendary Rollers at 142 as we head into this intermission of this Junior Roller Derby bout.
We're going to take a quick break here. Make sure you are back in just under 15 minutes. And while you are hanging around the venue, make sure you check out some of our great sponsors, including Nerd Roller Skates and the Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby, as well, of course, as the Peterson Contracting Beer Gardens. We'll see you on the flip side. And we are back with the second half of this game. Of course, we have our home team, the Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby Legendary Rollers. And we have our visiting team, the Greater Edmonton Roller Derby All-Stars. So we're just going to do an equipment check here before we get the second half underway. I remember when equipment checks happened before every game. Not just the juniors. Those were the days. Okay, that was like 3 years ago, so. Score, 142 for Legendary Rollers. Greater Edmonton All-Stars sitting at 113, so still a close score here. 30 minutes on the clock as we get underway with Wolfblade Jr. jamming for Legendary Rollers and Sam Monster for the All-Stars. Wolfblade finds some room on that inside line and is through as your lead jammer. Sam Monster still fighting against Ferris Bruiser there in turn 1, but is able to get by her. Wolfblade makes quick work of those 3 blockers for the All-Stars, comes around, picks up 4 points for Legendary Rollers. We're going to get a cut track penalty on Sam Monster. Sam Monster going to take a seat in that penalty box for cutting the track. That gives Wolfblade Jr. a power jam. Another 5 big points for him on that last pass. He is able to get around those 3 blockers there in turn 3, and that is the end of that jam. Legendary Rollers, a big 14-point jam there. That puts them at 156 points. Greater Edmonton All-Stars were able to score 3 before the whistle. They're now sitting at 116 points with 28 minutes, 46 seconds to go in this game. We still have Sam Monster sitting in the penalty box for the All-Stars, and Leothal on the track jamming for Legendary. Leothal is now your lead jammer. Sorry, that's Tricky Little, not Leothal. My apologies. Sam Monster returns to the track and barrels her way through those blockers. Tricky Little, another 4 points there. Legendary bench coach, Fluster Cluck, calling at Tricky Little to call the jam, and she does. Legendary picking up 9 points in that jam, and that puts them at 165 points, and Greater Edmonton still sitting at 116.
Wreck-It Rory now lining up for the Greater Edmonton Roller Derby All-Stars. And for the Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby Legendary Rollers, you're going to have Wolfblade Jr. And penalty being issued to the pivot, number 8-9 Emsky. And it looks like Wolfblade Jr. is going to have that lead jammer, as well as Wreck-It Rory has been able to complete their initial pass, as Wolfblade is going to find an outside spacing, grab that 4 points and call that jam off.
Sedusa on the jam line for the All-Stars, going up against Leothal, the real Leothal this time, for Legendary Rollers.
Leothal runs right into the back of 114 Thunder Payne. We're going to try and slow them down a little bit as they work to try and get through, but we're going to have a forearm block penalty called on 114 Thunder Payne, as well as another call. I missed it, but I believe that's 117 Smashing Rex now going to the penalty box for the Legendary Rollers.
A little bit of a tumble there for Leothal in the apex, a little bit of a splits, but she is back up and is fighting against the blockers there just outside turn 2.
And another forearm penalty now going to Pay the Pain.
Leothal able to escape that pivot there and pick up 5 big points.
And now looks like 2 penalties. A insubordination penalty on top of the original being issued to number 314 of the Legendary Rollers.
Sedusa through, clears that pack, picks up 4 big points.
And a low block now being called to 360 Huntsman.
Score sitting at 179 for the Legendary Rollers and 124 for Greater Edmonton All-Stars, with just under 25 minutes left in the game. We've got Sam Monster on the jam line for the All-Stars and Wolfblade Jr. for the Legendary Rollers. Some nice offense there by pivot Ferris Bruiser, allowing Wolfblade Jr. to run up that inside line. Wolfblade Jr., your lead jammer, coming around the turns 1 and 2. He's going to pick up 3 points and call that jam.
That's going to allow the Legendary Rollers now to bring their score up to 182. Greater Edmonton at 124 with 24 minutes remaining after 5 jams in this second period. Tricky Little now going up against Wreck-It Rory.
I thought those were cheerleaders over in the back corner for a minute. And I thought, yes, yes, Junior Roller Derby.
And even though we might not have cheerleaders, we have a lot of excited fans as Wreck-It Rory is able to get out in front and take that lead jam. And we're going to have a cut track issue to Tricky Little, so that's going to allow the All-Stars Wreck-It Rory to have a power jam. But it looks like we have a couple more penalties now as 2 of the All-Stars blockers are going to be sent to the box, including the pivot.
Big cheers for Wreck-It Rory. Another 5 big points for the All-Stars, narrowing that gap between the Legendary Rollers and the Greater Edmonton All-Stars. Wreck-It Rory collides with the pivot from the Legendary Rollers, but is up and 1 to beat. She does so while calling off the jam. Big points there for Wreck-It Rory in that last jam. 15 points. That takes Greater Edmonton All-Stars to 139. We're going to have an official timeout. While we take this official timeout and review, we're going to just talk for a few minutes about some thank yous here. One thing we haven't mentioned is we would like you to go and visit Buffalo Wild Wings, an all ages sports bar, which is a great time because you know what? The Winnipeg Jets are still in the playoffs up against the Vegas Golden Knights. I watched their first game last night, and go Winnipeg, go Jets. I mean, they're not my team, but I am super excited. Canadian hockey. So, you know, Buffalo Wild Wings really is what I'm trying to say. They, you can go watch the game 2 there. 1 block west and 1 block south on McLeod Trail. And mention Team D to help support Junior Roller Derby.
What a fantastic way to make sure that these juniors have a continued way to play. And all you got to do is go eat some wings. Like, what a hard way to fundraise and give back
Seriously.
to such a wonderful organization to go eat some chicken wings.
Yep. I would highly recommend it. I've heard they're quite good too. I mean, the wings is in the name, so they better be good at it, right?
You know they don't mess around with their chicken wings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, exactly, right. And you know, maybe you're hearing this talk about chicken wings, and you're like, man, I am thirsty. Well, you know what? We have a solution to that. There is a wonderful beer gardens just over here, the Peterson Contracting Beer Garden. It is open. It is hoppin'. Go, hoppin'. I made a pun, a brew pun. I love it. Just go over there and check out Peterson Contracting out on Facebook at facebook.com/Peterson Contracting.
And of course, let's say you got your beer and you're feeling good, but now you want to loosen up a little bit, go check out Mount Royal University. They're here today providing massages on site. So whether you need a relaxation massage or you have a condition that requires a therapeutic treatment, their students are trained to the highest standards nationally and can meet your needs. Of course, let's say you do that and you forgot, oh no, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers here. But let's say you forgot that it's Mother's Day and you're kind of running short. You can head on over to Origami Owl Custom Jewelry and you can help tell your story through jewelry. They'd be more than happy to help you out. Or let's say mom likes to have a good smelling house. Young Living is here with their essential oils and oil blends, and they'll help take you on a sensory journey that can instantly soothe and enlighten both body and mind.
Or maybe you are a mom and you need some time, you need a little break, you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Make sure you check out Creative Vitality, helping you create a deeper understanding of your own unique body system. I know Creative Vitality this morning gave me some essential oils for a cold that I think I'm developing. So thank you to them, and make sure you check them out if you're feeling at all under the weather or stressed or any of those things. They can help you out. And we are going to get back to this game. We took some time there. We did lose a skater who has fouled out. And we have Wolfblade Jr. on that jam line and your lead jammer for the Legendary Rollers. And Sedusa jamming for the All-Stars. Sedusa looking for some room on that inside line, but it is Wolfblade Jr. who comes in and takes that from her, picking up 5 big points. Sedusa still trying to get out of the pack, and she is able to do so outside turn 2. An apex jump by Wolfblade Jr., and another 5 points for him.
And a couple penalties being called as both Pay the Pain going over to the penalty box, followed by Ray Rebel. Both of those are going to serve 30 seconds in that penalty box.
Score 192 for the Legendary Rollers, and Greater Edmonton All-Stars 139. 21 minutes, 35 seconds left in the game, with Leothal on the jam line going up against Sam Monster.
Both teams starting short here as the All-Stars down 1 blocker, that's their pivot, and the Legendary Rollers are down 2 blockers. And now the All-Stars are going to be down their jammer, so that's going to give the Legendary Rollers number 14, Leah Thal, that power jam.
Look at these apex jumps. So impressive. Leah Thal with an apex jump, but does reset behind the pack. 1 blocker to beat, and does so just before turn 2. Picking up her points there. That's 5 big points for Leothal.
And a penalty now being issued to the pivot of the All-Stars. That's going to lose them 30 seconds, but jammer back on the track now for the All-Stars as well, so that's going to get the initial pass completed for some Monster.
Leothal picking up 4 more points and calling the jam. That will take the Legendary Rollers to 206 points. So they've now crossed that 2nd century mark, and Greater Edmonton All-Stars at 139. 20 minutes on the clock remaining.
Wolfblade Jr. now going up against Racket Rory. Wolfblade Jr. is going to get through first, as he kind of got sandwiched between 2 of those black blockers, but able to grab that lead jam nonetheless.
Wreck-It Rory clears the pack. He's going to come around and try to score some points. But won't be able to do so because Wolfblade Jr. has called off the jam.
So Legendary able to grab another 4 points there. The Greater Edmonton All-Stars not able to take any away, so that's going to leave them at 139, Legendary 210, with 19 minutes remaining after 9 jams in this second half of this game.
Tricky Little jamming now for the Legendary Rollers, going up against Sam Monster for the All-Stars. And Tricky Little able to get by on that inside line and pick up lead jam status. We have a big hit there on the outside of turn 1.
Tricky Little able to get up and skate off the track there. Fantastic to see.
"18 minutes left in the game, 18 minutes 7 seconds. Score 214 for Legendary Rollers and 139 for Greater Edmonton. We've got Sam Monster on the jam line for the All-Stars, going up against Wolfblade Jr.
Wolfblade Jr. with a big deke on Huntsman there, able to get through, grab his lead jam, but Sam Monster's going to stay close behind. Wolfblade Jr. listening to their coach there as they call that off, with Sam Monster following right behind.
Wolfblade is going to double shift this and head out for the next jam. We have Wreck-It Rory on that jam line for the All-Stars. Only 2 All-Star blockers out on that track. The other 2 are sitting in the penalty box.
Wolfblade Jr. is going to find a quick spot on that inside, but they are going to lose their blocker number 314, Pie Face.
And you get an apex jump, and you get an apex jump, and everybody gets an apex jump.
Unbelievable as they're able to make that jump across there. And it looks like the Legendary Rollers are losing another one to a penalty. That's going to be blocker number 117, Smashing Rex.
5 points for Wolfblade and 4 for Wreck-It Rory in that last pass. The no-pack is called, but we're going to get a failure to reform penalty on the All-Stars blocker Lunatic.
And another penalty as well being issued to number 25, Ray Ray Rebel. Both teams going to be getting a little short now on the track. All-Stars still out with 3 blockers, and the Legendary Rollers down with only 2, but I spoke too soon now as they're both down to 2 blockers.
Fewer and fewer bodies on the track at the moment. We've got Wolfblade Jr. with another 5 points. Only 2 blockers apiece for each team on the track before the jam is called. A big jam for Wolfblade, 26 points. That takes Legendary to 240. Greater Edmonton at 151 with a big jam as well, 12 points. And we're going to take a timeout.
Timeout being charged to the Greater Edmonton Roller Derby All-Stars.
We have finished one timeout and we are heading into another. So the Legendary Rollers had their timeout, and now the All-Stars will have theirs. So we will take another minute to talk as a team. Not we, they will take another minute to talk as a team. And we will take another minute to read some of these lovely sponsor thank yous. If you haven't heard me say it yet, Girls on Track, Girls on Track, Girls on Track. Super important. Girls on Track Foundation. Did you know that by age 14, girls are dropping out of sports at twice the rate of boys? Girls on Track wants to change that stat. Learn more about expanding access to roller derby for girls in their teens at girlsontrackfoundation.org. Another timeout over, and we are headed into a third timeout. So we will keep this timeout train going and talk about the King's Head After Party, because the King's Head After Party is happening tonight at the King's Head Pub, which is just down the street. It is following this event at the end of the day. This has been a fantastic weekend for everybody involved, and all the hard work has been absolutely on display here. So it's time to, not now, later will be time to sit back and relax and have a few bites and bevies with your friends and think about the weekend that happened, that was beautiful and wonderful, and all the beautiful derby moments that we had here over these past few days. So King's Head After Party tonight after this event. Make sure you check it out. So we are going to have an end of game here. The black team, the Greater Edmonton All-Stars, have decided to call the game. They are down to 7 players, and they have said that that's enough. So the final score will be 240 for the Legendary Rollers and 151 for Greater Edmonton. Make sure you give both teams an absolutely astounding round of applause here, and I want to see all those hands out there for high fives. The sportsmanship and the athleticism on display today on this track was absolutely astounding. I am blown away and terrified to see what happens when these juniors enter adult leagues. And a big thank you again to Southern Alberta Junior Roller Derby for coming out and supporting Derby, promoting safety, cooperation, and wholesome fun and entertainment for the whole family. We are absolutely in awe of you and in debt to you, so thank you for coming out here. And if you'd like to support Junior Roller Derby, again, Buffalo Wild Wings just mentioned Team D to help support Junior Roller Derby. Thank you so much. I'm Rocky Scorer.
I'm Fat Boy Schwartz, and it's been an absolute pleasure calling this game for you, and we hope to see you stick around for the next 2 games.
Yeah, the next game will feature Nuclear Freeze Boom from Red Deer, Alberta, and the Living Dead from Edmonton. So you won't want to miss this. Stick around, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good one.